Okay, in conclusion on the 871 after treatment system, I just want to talk a minute about some of the faults you should watch out for. 3375, 3376, both those mean that the system's regenerating way too often, but for different reasons. 3375 means that it's regenerating way too often, but it's getting up to temperature. It's seeing that 1,000 degrees on the outlet side. So usually when you see that, you do have a problem with the engine smoking more than it should. 3376, on the other hand, means it's regenerating way too often, but it's not seeing the temperature that it should see. So if you try to do if you pull over on the side of the road, hit the button to do a regen because the light's flashing, and that after treatment injector we just looked at is plugged up solid, or the fuel line to it got crushed or whatever, it's going to regen, but it's not going to get hot because no fuel's going back there. The other faults you'll see that are common on this are the ones for those two check valves. They seem to not have a full 1,000,000-mile life. So you might end up changing one or the other of those. And then remember that the ECM can't analyze data that happens quicker than about 8 hours. So by that I mean, if you blow a cack hose and it starts smoking, and in a half an hour that DPF plugs up, the system's not even going to know that it's plugged up. It's not going to have time to try and do a passive regen. It's not even going to have time to turn a light on and tell you that it needs a stationary. The truck's going to start losing a lot of power. You're not going to be able to figure out why. And if you keep trying to drive it, it'll just die because the after treatment completely plugged. So the ECM has to have more than 8 hours when changes start occurring to see what's going on. A healthy ISX 871 after treatment system regens every 30 to 35 or 40 hours. If you see it regen every 100 hours, 120 hours, the DPF is probably cracked. And it didn't crack too much that it's logging, hey, there's no DPF on here fault. And it's not seeing enough restriction that it's going, I need to do a regen. So I've seen guys come in that drove them 2 years with a cracked filter, and they were lucky because it cracked enough that it still read restriction, but not so much that it thought the after treatment was gone. The 871 is a good engine. It's a good after treatment system. It's simple. You don't have to deal with SCR. The problem, if there is a problem with it, is it doesn't have SCR. So when you're in places where the EPA is very strict on your emissions, that engine might not make it there anymore. As of the making of this video, I don't think that the 871 after treatment system is legal in California anymore, not because it doesn't do its job, because it doesn't address SCR, which is NOx. It doesn't address that. So with that, we'll end the series. If you have any final questions, just put them down in the comments and I'll address them. If there's a bunch of questions, I'll do another video. If there's one or two, I'll just try to answer it with text reply. Thanks again for joining me. We'll be going on to the ISX 2250 system next. See you then.